She was told she wasn't ready. She was told the big names would end her fairy tale run in Washington before it even began. Then Alex Eala walked onto stadium court and dismantled a four-time Grand Slam champion in straight sets, and the crowd erupted like they were witnessing history in real time. Now, just one match stands between a 21-year-old from the Philippines and the biggest title of her life, against the most in-form American on tour this season. This is not just a tennis match. This is a nation holding its breath, a rivalry reignited, and a champion in the making colliding with a champion already crowned. Live now, the DC Open 2026 final is here, and nobody knows how this story ends. Nobody predicted this. When the draw for the 2026 Mubadala DC Open was released, Alex Eala's side of the bracket read like a graveyard for underdogs, stacked with major champions, Olympic medalists, and former top 10 stars. Yet one by one, she walked through every single one of them. It started with a gritty 3-set win over Qinwen, the reigning Olympic gold medalist, a match that could have broken a lesser competitor after dropping the first set. Instead, Eala found another gear, fighting back from behind to steal the momentum and never let it go. Next came defending champion and 7th seed Leylah Fernandez, someone who knew this court intimately and had lifted the trophy here before. Eala silenced that home court advantage in straight sets, needing a tense tiebreak to finish the job. Then the challenges only intensified. 2nd seed Elina Svitolina, an Olympic medalist and a player renowned for grinding opponents into submission, stood in her way in the quarterfinals. Eala dispatched her in straight sets as well, growing more composed and more dangerous with every round. But it was the semifinal that turned heads around the entire tennis world. Facing 3rd seed Naomi Osaka, a 4-time Grand Slam champion and former world #1, in their first ever meeting, Eala produced arguably the finest performance of her career, winning 6-4, 6-2 while committing barely half the unforced errors of her legendary opponent. She raced to a commanding lead in the final game and closed it out with ice in her veins, sending the Filipino fans packed into Rock Crate Park into an explosion of celebration, flags waving, chants echoing across the grounds. This victory made her the very first Filipino player in history to reach a WTA 500 final, and lifted her to a new career-high ranking inside the world's top 25, with the chance to climb even higher should she complete the job on Sunday. Along the way, she recorded her 6th win over a top 10 opponent this season alone, a staggering number for a player still building her resume. Eala herself admitted the magnitude of the moment, saying the draw was jam-packed with big name after big name after big name, and that simply being in this final already meant everything to her. But make no mistake, she is not here just to participate. She is here to win, and the belief radiating from her game suggests she truly thinks she can. This is not the first time these two competitors have shared a tennis court, and their only previous meeting was nothing short of a war. Back in 2025, at the Miami Open semifinals, Pegula and Eala engaged in a grueling 3-set battle that pushed both players to their absolute physical and mental limits. Pegula eventually came through, winning a marathon encounter 7-6, 5-7, 6-3, a scoreline that tells the story of a match with no easy answers, no comfortable stretches, and no shortage of drama. That result ended what had been a stunning breakthrough run for the then teenage Eala, who had been the story of that tournament until Pegula stopped her cold. For over a year, that single data point has stood as the only measuring stick between these two, a 1-0 head-to-head in Pegula's favor that Eala will be desperate to erase on Sunday. But so much has changed since that Miami afternoon. Eala is no longer the surprising newcomer catching everyone off guard. She is now a proven top 25 talent with victories over some of the very best players in the world stacked behind her name. She has grown, she has learned, and she has spent the past year absorbing exactly the kind of lessons that come from battling the sport's elite. The Eala who steps onto stadium court this time is sharper, more experienced, and carrying the unmistakable belief of someone who has already dismantled bigger names this very week. Pegula, meanwhile, has continued to prove her own growth. becoming even more dangerous, even more efficient, and even more dominant across an entire season rather than in isolated bursts. Both players know exactly what happened in Miami, and both players know that memory alone will decide nothing once the first ball is struck today. What makes this rematch so compelling is the shift in stakes. Miami was a semi-final, painful but recoverable. This is a final, a winner-take-all collision with a trophy, ranking points, and a slice of history all riding on the outcome. Eala will want revenge and validation in equal measure, proof to herself and to the tennis world that the outcome in Florida was a moment in time rather than a permanent hierarchy. Pegula will want to reaffirm that hierarchy, to show that experience, composure, and a battle-tested game plan still triumph when the pressure is at its absolute peak. This history does not just add color to today's final, it adds tension, unfinished business, and the electric sense that both women have a very personal score to settle. Beyond the personal rivalry and the emotional weight both players carry, the practical stakes of this final are enormous, layered, and impossible to ignore. For Alex Eala, victory would deliver something no player from the Philippines has ever achieved in the modern era of the sport, a WTA 500-level singles title, instantly transforming her from a promising rising star into a certified champion on the world stage. It would validate every headline, every comparison to the sport's next generation of superstars, and every ounce of hype that has followed her breakout season. A win would also propel her ranking to a new career high inside the world's top 20, opening the door to seeding at the biggest tournaments on the calendar and fundamentally changing how opponents, sponsors, and tournament directors view her going forward. For an entire nation of tennis fans back home, many of whom packed the stands in Washington waving flags and chanting her name throughout the week, this would be a historic, once-in-a-generation moment worth celebrating for years to come. For Jessica Pegula, the stakes carry a different but equally powerful weight. A win would hand her a third title of the season, matching a personal best not achieved since 2023, and would place her alongside the very best performers on tour this year in terms of championships won. It would also mark a full-circle triumph, returning to the exact city and the exact tournament where she captured her maiden WTA title 7 years ago, a storyline made for the history books. Beyond the personal milestones, ranking points are on the line for both competitors as they push toward the season's remaining marquee events, and prize money adds another tangible layer of motivation to an already loaded occasion. There is also the matter of momentum heading into the North American hard court swing, with the U.S. Open looming on the horizon later this season. Whoever walks away from Rock Creek Park with the trophy carries not just silverware but genuine belief and confidence into the next chapter of their year, a psychological edge that can prove just as valuable as the ranking points themselves. Every game, every deciding point, every hard-fought rally today will ripple far beyond this single Sunday afternoon in Washington, shaping careers, headlines, and the trajectory of the entire WTA season still to come. All the storylines, all the history, and all the pressure now collapse into a single afternoon on Stadium Court at Rock Creek Park Tennis Center. Two contrasting paths have led both women to this exact moment, one built on a stunning underdog run through the toughest draw imaginable, the other forged through an entire season of relentless, battle-tested consistency. Both players lean on aggressive, disciplined, hard court games, the kind of style that rewards whoever seizes the early rhythm and refuses to let it go, meaning the opening games of this final could prove absolutely decisive in shaping everything that follows. Eala will look to unleash the same fearless aggression that dismantled Osaka, attacking second serves relentlessly and refusing to be intimidated by Pegula's ranking or her championship pedigree. She has shown all week that she thrives under pressure rather than shrinking from it, and a home crowd-style atmosphere created by her passionate Filipino supporters could give her an emotional lift no other player in this tournament has enjoyed. Pegula, on the other hand, will lean on her superior experience in high-stakes finals, her improved serve percentage, and the psychological comfort of already owning a win over her opponent. Expect her to try and extend rallies, test Eala's patience, and use her elite return game to apply constant pressure on second serves, a strategy that has fueled her incredible 38-win season. The subplot of Pegula chasing history in the very city where her career-defining first title was won adds an extra layer of motivation that should not be underestimated either. As both competitors walk out to a roaring, flag-waving, capacity crowd, one truth is unavoidable. This final is simply too close to call on paper, and that unpredictability is exactly what makes it must-watch television. Will Alex Eala complete the most improbable title run of the entire WTA season and etch her name into Philippine sporting history forever? Or will Jessica Pegula's experience, consistency, and battle-tested nerve prove too much for the rising star to overcome on the biggest stage of her young career? There is only one way to find out. But live coverage has begun. The first ball is about to be struck, and this DC Open 2026 final promises the kind of drama, tension, and raw emotion the tennis fans will be talking about for years to come. Stay locked in, because history could be written in the next 2 hours. If you enjoyed this latest tennis update and want to stay ahead of the biggest stories in the world, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe the channel right now. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment of the action. See you in the next video.